Hello, everybody. My name is Taylor Prevett, and this is my video presentation on addiction in families. So, the first thing I want to talk about is what is addiction? The Webster Dictionary defines addiction as a compulsive, chronic, physiological, or psychological need for a habit forming substance, behavior, or activity having harmful physical, psychological, or social effects and typically causing well defined symptoms such as anxiety, irritability, tremors, or nausea upon withdrawal or abstinence. So there are usually two types of addictions. There are the chemical addictions, and these are usually referred to as the substance use disorder. Um, this includes alcohol, opioids, cannabis, nicotine, uh, just usually what people would associate addictions with. This can even include pornography, caffeine, sugar, etc. Then we have behavioral. Now, this includes shopping, exercise, food, sex, gambling, TV, social media, etc. All right, so when somebody finds themselves becoming addicted to something, they go into this cycle. So it starts with the initial use, and this will usually um, begin in the preteen to teenage years of someone's life. Then it goes into abuse, tolerance, dependence, addiction, and relapse. And it's really unfortunate when someone finds themselves in this cycle because it's really, really difficult for them to get out of. And it just, repeats itself since it is a cycle. Next, I have a little video that I want you guys to watch. This talks a little bit about how the brain works when somebody is addicted to something. So enjoy.
Say the word addiction, and drugs such as alcohol, heroin, and cocaine often come to mind. But other substances like nicotine, marijuana, and prescription pain medications can also be addictive. So can certain activities such as gambling and sex. Whatever the case, addiction involves craving and a loss of control, with the substance use or activity continuing even if it causes harm. This can include problems with relationships, jobs, school, money, or your health. Addiction is not due to weakness or a lack of willpower. Instead, it's a chronic disease involving changes in the brain. There, billions of nerve cells or neurons communicate through a series of signals and chemical messengers. When messages leave one neuron, they attach to a receptor on the receiving one, like a key fitting into a lock. In addiction, this communication process is disrupted. Large amounts of a brain chemical called dopamine are released, overwhelming receptors and resulting in the high that people experience. To keep that feeling going, they take the drug or engage in the behavior again and again. Eventually, the brain changes and adapts, driving them to seek out more just to get the same feeling. That's called tolerance. Stopping a substance can cause withdrawal symptoms such as nausea, tremors, depression, or severe anxiety. Taking too much of a substance or a combination of substances can result in an overdose and serious illness, or even death. Young people are especially vulnerable to addiction. The impulse control center of their brains, known as the prefrontal cortex, isn't fully developed, making them more prone to risky behavior. And using substances can cause lasting harm to their developing brains. If you think your child might be experimenting with substances, talk to them about it. Parents can help by taking a strong stand against substance use and teaching their kids healthier ways to deal with life's stresses. Like any other disease such as diabetes or asthma, addiction can be successfully treated. So if you or someone you know has a problem with addiction, talk to your doctor, a mental health professional, or an addiction specialist. Getting help may save a life.
Okay, so now let's talk about how addiction can affect families. So the first thing is the children. Um, I found that 1 in 5 children grow up with a parent who abuses drugs or alcohol. And this can play a huge role in the child's social and mental development. This also increases the chance of the parent abusing the child or children, and increases the chance of the child to, in the future, to abuse different substances. I think that when it comes to children, they probably are affected the most out of anybody in the household because they have the most lasting effects. This could also impact their self confidence and their overall health. Then we have trust. Um, People who struggle with addictions probably aren't very good at keeping promises. And it's not because that they don't want to, but it's because they have let whatever they're addicted to just take over their lives. Um, this can create a lot of strain and distrust in a relationship and in the household. Children will have a really hard time trusting their parents and will eventually have trust issues of their own in the future. This can also lead to, unfortunately, broken marriages because of the distrust between the spouse or the partner and dysfunctional children. Then we have stress. Typically, the partner or the spouse will be left with almost all the responsibilities. That includes bills, making decisions, raising the children, cleaning, doing the chores, etc. Um, and this can actually lead to stress-induced conditions such as high blood pressure and anxiety. And we all know when stress bottles up, it has to be released or it has to explode. So that can create a lot of tension in the household as well. Then we have finances. Financing an addiction is not cheap, especially when it involves drugs or alcohol. This can lead to problems for the family for paying for basic needs and necessities such as food, clothes, utilities, rent, or mortgage. And this can be really hurtful, especially for a family that has really young children who absolutely need those things. And then we have abuse and fear and confusion. Um, for abuse, now the addict or the family are at risk for either verbal or physical abuse. Typically, it's the family, and unfortunately, those who are abused in these situations also have very lasting effects from it. Um, and this kind of leads into the fear and confusion because they are not aware of how the addict will react or what they will react to. And it kind of creates a sense of them needing to walk on eggshells in the house. Children will be a lot more reserved because of this, and there's going to be an overall lack of joy and happiness. Next, I want to talk about addiction and family roles. So you guys should be familiar with this, but we have the enabler. They are the closest emotionally to the victim, often the spouse or partner. This person will experience the feelings of betrayal, anger, and hurt caused by the addict. We have the hero, who takes on a lot of responsibilities. This is typically the oldest child. They're usually an overachiever. They experience feelings of guilt, inadequacy, hurt, stress, and anxiety. Then we have the scapegoat. They distract themselves from reality by misbehaving and getting into a lot of trouble. They get blamed for a lot of the family problems and they experience anger, guilt, rejection, and hurt. And then we have the mascot. This is usually a class clown. They provide the family with humor when there's stress caused by the addict. They will experience feelings of anxiety, fear, and insecurity. And they'll often self medicate when they're older with drugs or alcohol. And then we have the lost child. This person spends a lot of time alone. They have a lot of trouble forming relationships and struggle in social situations as well. They usually feel rejected, lonely, and hurt. So, as you can see, families are extremely affected by addiction. And There are just so many different ways that this happens, but it's just so sad to see um, the different effects that it can have on these different individuals in the family. So as I come to an end of my presentation, because addiction is such a heavy and a really touchy topic, I wanted to throw this in here. Now, this is the hotline number for the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. If you guys if you guys know anybody who might be struggling with addiction, or if you yourself are struggling with addiction, just know that there is a way out, and there will always be a way out. Um, I know that it will not be the easiest to admit or to confess what you might be struggling with, but there are so many different resources that can help you um, defeat this addiction. So um, yeah, if you guys know anybody, just do your best to reach out and to help them, because like the video said before, trying to reach out and help somebody could save someone's life. I just want to end with my testimony, because I know that addictions are hard. I've known a lot of people who have struggled with them, and they're really, really difficult. They especially put a lot of, or can put a lot of strain on a marriage, and a family in general. And I just know that Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ, no matter what, will love us, um, even even if we've struggled with any kind of addiction or anything in the past. That they see us for our potential and for what we can become rather than what we were. So, anyways, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you guys learned some new things. And yeah, thanks again.